been a volatile session for shares of pot stock Tilray, also now a booze company too, of course. Shares are down as much as 11% plus, have come back, but are still in the midst of a long-term bear market. Joining us, the CEO and chairman, Irwin D. Simon at Tilray Brands. Irwin, welcome back to the Schwab Network. Thanks for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so tell us your side of the earnings, because the market's punishing you today. Shares are down to $1.50 at this point. Seemed like there were some things in here like free cash flow that improved, but some of the expectations from analysts also weren't met, earnings-wise, revenue-wise. Take me through the numbers.
So let me come back and say this here. We did $200 million in the quarter, our biggest first quarter ever. Our business was up 13%. Our alcohol business was up over 100%, with the acquisition of ABI. There's a lot of great things going on within Tilray. Today, we have 44 brands. We, have 20 of our own facilities. We gave guidance between $950 to $1 billion of sales. In 2019, we were a $50 million company, basically a Canadian cannabis company. So number one, we're number one in recreational cannabis in Canada, number two in medical. We're the fifth largest craft brewer in the U.S. We have a great spirits business in regards to Breckenridge with our bourbon, gin, and vodka. We have a wellness business in our hemp business that grew 11%. And in Europe, we have the number one medical cannabis business there. So we're well positioned. Yes, we can't sell cannabis in the U.S. and dependent upon, the next election that's coming up, what will happen with that. But what's in Tilray today, we have great brands. We're well diversified. We got a strong balance sheet, and we're doing something unique. And sometimes I don't think the market recognizes that. The other thing is here, we don't give guidance out there from a sales standpoint by quarter. And there's lots of seasonality in regards to our products. There's timing on new products. There's timing on new distribution. So I think there are some of the things that, from the market standpoint, that have missed today.
Okay, let's talk the election stuff real quick, because obviously that would be a big deal if you can start business in the U.S. Right now, though, is that the limit? Do you think that the market was expecting further, wider federal legalization at this point? And where do you put those odds right now? Is it possible to game those odds?
So listen, if I came back here and standing here October 10, 2024, I would thought something would have changed within legalization within cannabis in the U.S. in regards to either medical or recreational and regards to rescheduling. It hasn't happened. The good news is both candidates are in favor of it. And I think that's what's important, where before, neither candidate came out and said something about it, but both President Trump and Vice President Harris come back and said, we need to change in regards to legalization of cannabis in the U.S., whether that is just legalizing medical from a federal standpoint and leaving it up to each of the states in regards to rescheduling. But there's $45 billion of potential sales of cannabis in the U.S. And listen, we're always looking at tax dollars. Where is an opportunity in tax dollars? In the Canadian market today, there's over $1 billion that is, obtained in excise tax. We as a company pay $150 million. Look at the tax dollars that potentially that the U.S. is giving up. And you know what? Cannabis from a state-wise is legal in 27 states from recreational. It's legal in 35 states from medical. Like, majority of the citizens out there, voters, want cannabis legalized.
That seems all reasonable and logical, right? That case. And it seems like that could be a big binary event. How much time do you have for that to be realized with the stock at $1.50? Real talk, Irwin, are you worried about your job? Are you worried? I mean, the shares are down like 90%. Are you worried that the company is going to have to go into some kind of restructuring? What do your finances look like at $1.50?
Well, first of all, step back for a second. We're here to do the right thing for our shareholders. We're here to build long-term value, okay? And I come back and heard what I said before. Number one, we have a strong balance sheet. We have over $250 billion of cash on our balance sheet, okay? We have, in regards to 1.7 times debt to equity from a balance sheet standpoint. So from restructuring, that is unheard of to be speaking about something like that. We're in growth categories, and we're in categories where consumers, want these products. So ultimately, listen, you got to come back and look at the stock. Is it a long-term play? Yes. But we're not just a cannabis company. There's $100 million of beer business out there today. There's a big cannabis business out there today. We're a global company. We're vertically integrated. So I'm not sure just you can go back and look at Tilray today in regards to the stock price. It's really what's within the Tilray company.
If you think there's a bunch of unrealized potential here, what about a buyback? What about a big shareholder, payout or something? What about your own stake? Is there a way to put the money into the shares at this point if you think that there's unrealized value? 'Cause I mean, it's $1.50.
Well, first of all, we're a growth company, and ultimately, is it using our cash out there to do additional acquisitions? If it makes sense to be buying back our stock, it's something we'll look at. But I think the thing is, we're in positions to make those choices and to pull those levers, okay? And I think you can't look at us as just a cannabis company. You got to look at us as a growth company. You got to look at our balance sheet, and you got to look at what is owned by Tilray Brands today. We have 5 million square feet of grow in Canada, and we're one of the largest grower of cannabis. We have 10 facilities out there today in regards to craft brewery. We have a great bourbon business. So there's a lot within Tilray.
And for sure, to give some numbers for perspective, the alcohol biz, $56 million for alcohol beverages. That was $24 million a year ago. The growth obviously there. I feel like because many identify it still as a cannabis company, when they see the cannabis revenues down, to your point, the kind of that myopia, they go, okay, cannabis company, that's what I know it is. Cannabis revenues down 13%. Is that a competitive angle? Do you worry that you're losing market share, or where can you turn that contraction of the cannabis part around?
And again, you got to look at our cannabis business. We're going after profitable cannabis growth. And it's very easy to drive revenue on cannabis. But a big focus of our cannabis business has been margins, and our margins, we're up 500 bips in regards to our cannabis business. So, we're focused on profitability within this company, not just out there to go out there and buy cannabis sales. But have been the number one recreational cannabis business in Canada. And, if I come back and I look at it, it's, again, as I look at this company, it's profitability that there's a big focus on here, just not top line growth.
The last point is, I misspoke earlier, the free cash flow is at negative $42 million. It was about negative $20 million ago, but you do have cash and equivalents of $200 million. Is there a way to marry those two to stem the bleeding of the free cash flow, or is your point on the growth just spend right now?
So a big part of the cash flow, we're reinvesting back into business, okay? It's not cash we're burning from operations. And if you come back and look at it,
sure,
we're building out this business. This business is 5 years old. So, we are not out there just burning cash and spending cash on operations. It's building out the infrastructure. You heard what I said before. We have 20 facilities out there that we're building out. We have 44 brands. We got to invest in the brands. We have 2,700 people out there. We've got to invest in infrastructure and processes. So we got to build out the infrastructure. We got to build out our facilities, and we got to build out our marketing plans to grow this business.
All right, understood. Appreciate the ongoing conversation with us, Irwin. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate that. And coming on and talk about the business on a day getting hit on earnings. So respect, Irwin Simon, Chairman and CEO at Tilray Brands.